All right, in this tutorial, we're going to cover the progress bar. So far, again, I have only a grid with two columns, column 1, column 2. So for now, we're going to focus on the first column, and that's where we're going to add our first progress bar. So let's add a stack panel first. Okay, inside our stack panel, we want to add a progress bar. Okay, so progress bar by default is a thin, very thin, but we're going to increase the height to make it visible, a little bit more visible, let's say. So there, it's more obvious now. All right, so we have the height property, width property, which we could change if we need to. Most common ones. I'm going to keep default. I want to cover the whole stack panel. What else do we have? We have the background and foreground. So let's change the background for now. I'm going to reverse back to, but just to show you. So let's say background of black and foreground of red. The foreground is just, it's not going to show right now because we don't have any progress made. The property that shows the progress, that brings us that, and that's value. So in many ways, it's similar to the slider. If you've seen my slider demo, in a lot of ways, it's similar. Probably the biggest difference is we can't interact with the progress bar the way we do with the slider, because the slider has a thumb control. We can move back and forth, but the slider with progress bar, I guess you can say it's designed to give the end user information that a process is running in the background. So it's kind of info bar, all right? The user doesn't get frustrated what's going on, so on and so forth. If it's a long process or loading the application. So yes. Okay, so I think we don't really need the background and foreground. It's most of the controls, they do have those properties. So okay. The other property I'd like to touch on, it's the orientation, and that's whether we want vertical or horizontal progress bar. Our default is horizontal, so the progress bar will start from left and head to right. With vertical, it's from bottom up. So if I change the horizontal orientation to vertical, now it'll go from bottom to top, and we can actually increase the height to say 80 to make it more obvious. Okay, and that's actually, I guess we'll understand better when we get to the animation part. All right, so let's keep this for now as horizontal. Okay. All right, so another difference between the progress bar and the slider, the value, this minimum value is 0, the max value is 100 default. Of course, that's subject to change based on your need. In slider, I think we had default was 1 to 10. All right, so that being said, let's add an animation. To add an animation, I'm going to add a button first. I'm going to use this button to kick off the animation, okay? I'm going to give this button a name. I'm talking about the name. I need to name the progress bar as well to reference it. So I'm going to call this button btn pb for progress bar with a content of click me, and close this out for now. I'm going to name this progress bar. Let's give it a name. Let's say X column name equals PB1. Let's call this PB1. Now I'm going to expand my button and add an event trigger. So button.triggers. And inside here, I'm going to add an event trigger. And that's going to be type of routed event, which is button.click. So that's the event that's going to kick off the animation. Inside here, I'm going to add a begin storyboard object. And within begin storyboard, I'm going to add a storyboard, open, close, and then inside here, I'm going to add my animation, double animation. In a few minutes, we're probably going to end up doing this in C# as well. So just to see it, different ways of doing it. So double animation. Okay. So the properties I need, I'm going to say storyboard target name. That's going to be my progress bar, PB1. Storyboard target property. It's going to be the value property, which shows the progress made. And I want this to go to the value from 0 to, want the progress from 0 to 100. And I want this to happen within a duration of 3 seconds. So 0 column 3. The last digit is our seconds. Okay, let's close this out. I think we should be good to go. Let me remove this default value from here. And let's build and run this. So now if I click my button, within 3 minutes, the value will change from 0 to 100, indicating our progress is complete. Okay. So now let's go ahead and add, let's see, to do the same thing with the code behind. Okay. So for this, I'm going to add a click event to the button again. Well, this was a trigger. Now I'm going to add actually click event. Okay. And I'm going to go to my code behind file by saying go to definition. All right, now we are inside the button click event. So here I'm going to add another progress bar using C# code. Okay. So progress bar PB equals new progress bar. Let's create the instance of the progress bar. And again, I'm going to add a height, pb.height. Let's see, say 10 for this guy. All right. Orientation is fine. Let's change the for color. Yeah, that's fine. And okay, I think that's enough for the properties. And I'm going to add a animation, right? So first I need duration. Duration, let's call this duration equals to new duration. And inside here, I think I need to pass in a time span. Yep, time span. So I'm going to use time span that from seconds, let's say 3 seconds. Double animation db equals new double animation, and inside here I'm going to pass double value, double two value. So the end value is 100, so we want to go to 100. We don't have to set the start, I think, and pass in the duration that we just created here, and then I'm going to call pb begin animation and pass in a dependency property called ProgressBar value property, comma, animation timeline. So that I'm going to pass in the double animation that we just created, db. I think that's it. And then I think that's it. I think we're done. All right, let's run this and test it out. No, we're not done because I didn't add the progress bar to the stack panel. So I'm going to say stack panel. Well, yeah, stack panel. No. All right. So we didn't name the stack panel. I'm going to need to add this, add a name to the stack panel. So x the column name equals stack panel, it's called sp. So sp dot children dot add progress bar. Let's test this out. All right. So now we have two progress bar, one with XAML, one with C# code. And we get the same result. Okay, so that's how you do it with C#, and that's how you do it with XAML. All right, again, so far so good, but let's say we want to add up another process that shows something is happening, and we'll have the progress bar showing the progress made. Okay, so for this example, I'm going to add a Listbox. Let's put the Listbox right here. So Listbox, let's get a name. Call this LVX1 and close this out and set actually grid.column to 1. So we had the list box in the second column. Okay, so now I'm gonna go inside that button click event. For now I'm gonna just comment this out because I'm not gonna use that code for this demo. Instead, before we get to Listbox, actually, I forgot to mention something. So let's go back to our progress bar here. So the progress bar, by default doesn't have a text property or content property to add text to the progress bar. So the workaround, what we can do, we can place this inside a grid. Wrong buttons. And select again, Control K, S, and I want to add a tag. And the grid is the one I'm looking for. So we're going to place this in grid, and we're going to add another control, and this text block, which we are going to use for text. So if you see my grid demo, if you don't set the columns, and this is the child grid. This one is child grid, it's not the main grid. So basically this grid only is encapsulating the progress bar. And if we add another element, the second element will sit on top of the first one. So, and since the text block is transparent, that'll work perfectly. So if I set this to, say, 100 text property and change the font size to 14, let's go 18, and close this out. So now I have the text block sitting on the progress bar, and that's gonna actually work great because the text block, like I said, it's transparent. It doesn't affect anything. It's not in the way. So we'll still see the progress bar moving along nicely. I want to do what I want to do is I want to center that text. And then I want to format that. Actually, I'm going to remove this default text, and I'm going to set this to, I'm going to bind the text to element name, and that's my progress bar. And the path I'm looking for is the value. And then what I want to do, I want to format this string format. I'm going to add a percentage sign to the text, right? 1, 2. All right, so inside the second pair of braces, I want to go 0, column 0. And right outside that brace, I want to add the percentage sign. All right. So where's my, right here? So now it should, the text will bind to the progress bar, the value of the progress bar, and then we'll show the percentage sign. Let's run this and test it out. Let's click the button, and it's not showing. I wonder why. All right, so we bound to the, okay, this one here, this is not 0, this is, oh, that's why. Okay, now it's showing 0% here, you can see. So now if I run this, and click the button, now the value, the text block will show the value of the progress bar. All right, so that's that. Okay, let's go back to our list box. So basically what I want to do, I want to add items here inside the list box as just to show the progress with the items along with the, just in sync. So as you add items to the list box, it's going to increase the value of the progress bar. Okay, so that's our goal. All right, so I'm going to create a for each loop. And actually for loop. It's not a for each loop. Let's say 100, 101, I0 to I, as long as smaller than 101, I plus plus. Let's add some item to Listbox. Listbox.items.add. Let's type in something in here. Item, and then concatenate with the I. So it's going to add a bunch of items in there. Let's try this out. Well. So now it added, the items were added like in a flash. All right, so it wasn't in sync with the progress bar, okay? All right, so to make that happen, I'm going to get comment out this trigger here, because this trigger currently is controlling our progress. I'm just going to comment this out. Okay, and go back to over here, button click event. So now I'm going to add PB ProgressBar 1 dot value plus equals to I. Let's try this out. And it's happening too fast. All right. So again, 100 items is not really too much. So we're going to play with this. I'm gonna add a delay, fake delay, to just animate it. So to animate that, to add a delay, actually, I'm gonna use a wait test.delay. And pass in 200. Close this out. And it's complaining. It's 222, maybe async. So we need async here. Async. Okay, that takes care of that. Now that should give us a delay of 200 milliseconds. So let's try that out now. If I click this now it's running in a sync, okay? So now the items are added as the progress is being made, and I think, wow. There's something going on here. So that's already done. This one is still going. I wonder why. All right. Maybe this should be just plus. Am I adding just too many numbers? Let's try this again. I think they're in sync now. Yep, I think we're good now. All right. So now it's like, just like I said earlier, we're letting the user know that it's loading, the information is being loaded as the progress is being made. Okay. And one final example, I want to build something cool. I'd like to add a slideshow right? To do that, I'm going to be using some images that I have. So I have like probably roughly around 100 images in here. I'll be using those images to build the slideshow. All right. So first thing I need to do is I'm going to get the file names. All right, so I'm going to create a new variable called files. I'm going to call directory dot get files, and inside here I'm going to pass the path. So let me close this out and go back here and copy and paste this file path, right? And inside here I'm going to need my add symbol and then open close double quotes and pass in the file path. Right, so this variable is going to store all the file names inside a directory. Next thing I want to do, I want to create a instance of bitmap image. Call this BMP bitmap equals new bitmap image, and inside here I'm going to pass in the URI. So the URI will be this is an array. It's a string array, so I'm going to pass that array and grab the I. So it's going to start from the first one all the way to the last one. Well, actually, I have to, before I pass this in, I need to create a new instance of URI. And within the URI, I can pass that file path, files I. So that's going to create the image. Next, I'm going to set the source of my image control to new image brush. Actually, image source, I think. No, image brush. And inside here, I can pass my image. No? I'm missing something. I think that's it. Yes, should be it. Let's try this out. Let me run this. Click. And voila. So now this is all working in sync with the progress bar. Okay. So at one hand, on the right hand side is adding the items to the list, and on the other hand, on the left, we have the slideshow in sync with the progress bar. Okay, beautiful. All right, so there you have it. That's our progress bar. All right, until the next one, please remember to subscribe and like. Thank you.